Hey guys, so next little project I got going on here is this Explorer I'm trying to get rid of. It's a 2001 Explorer Sport, two-door, four-wheel drive. It's been sitting for a little while because this was my back and forth to work car till I got the work truck, and I bring that home every day now, so there's no need for this. I have my dually that I can drive if I need something to drive. I just didn't want to be driving that back and forth to work every day. So this is actually, oh, good, the heater cut off. This is actually my fiance's old car. When we bought her the new car, this is what I started driving back and forth to work, and we got rid of my other pickup I had. So, two things it really needs. The inspection's out, but we let the registration go because we don't drive it. No point in paying for that. It needs a sway bar end link, and the temperature gauge doesn't work. It just stays down at cold all the time. So I'm going to try putting a new sensor in, and I'm also going to put the sway bar end link in. So we'll get to work. Now, just like any typical vehicle that has these lift struts, these don't work. So had to do that before I get started. But the temperature sensor, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, is actually right down in here. So it's under the actual intake, which kind of makes it a little bit of a pain to do. So I got to see if I'm going to attempt that today. If I can get it without taking the intake off, which I might be able to, I'll do it. But if I can't get it without taking the intake off, I'm not taking the intake off today. So I think first things first, we'll attack that lower, what the hell was that? Oh, the sway bar end link. So let's get to that first, and then we'll worry about this. Alright guys, so to explain this a little better, I kind of laid this out. This is the sway bar end link. So what it is underneath the car here, there's what's called a sway bar or an anti-roll bar. So what it is it's a bar that goes from side to side underneath on the suspension. And this bar goes from side to side, connects to both of the lower control arms on this vehicle. And when you go around a turn and the car wants to roll to either side, this bar actually helps prevent that rolling. Well, these links here are what connect that sway bar to the lower control arms underneath. So here's a little way of how it works. So this is just a long bolt threaded on the end. So what it is this goes in, and you got these little washers here, little concave washers, and they go on these rubber bushings. And what it is these rubber bushings, this one will get sandwiched, the sway bar will get sandwiched in between these two bushings. And then this will go on the bottom, and then this is just a hollow tube that this bolt goes through to space it out. And then it'll be the same deal with these, except these will be on the lower control arm. So the lower control arm will be sandwiched between these two bushings with the little concave washers. And then this nut, it's a lock nut, this will be sticking out through all this, and you tighten it down, and that's actually what connects the sway bar to the lower control arm. It's actually a very simple, easy fix. It's something that most people could do on their own on something like this. This one, it broke, it's gone. They have a tendency up here in Pennsylvania, they have a tendency to rot away. So we have a lot of rust up here. Not quite as much as other people, but pretty decent amount. So stuff like this breaks all the time. Just builds up rust over the years and breaks, and now it's gone. So let's get under there. Easy fix. We'll put this on. So it's fairly straightforward with tools too. This is all I'm taking under with me. And I have the cordless impact, which just makes it go fast. But yeah, you could do this with just regular hand tools. 2 wrenches, a wrench and a ratchet. It doesn't matter. You don't need to have anything big like this. It's an easy job as far as tools go. So I'm about to go under. Let's see what this looks like. Alright, I kind of got you positioned under here. I think you should be able to see this. So this is the sway bar right here. There's the end link goes right through the end there. And then it goes straight down. And down in the control arm right there is a, there's a hole there. I don't know how well you can see that, because I can't see the screen. But there's a hole there where the sway bar end link goes through. So it's pretty straightforward. Let's see if we can get this in. I may actually have to do this with hand tools now that I'm looking at it. Get my hand on some of this stuff. So in my hand right now, I don't have a camera on it, but I have the that long bolt. I just put one of the concave washers on it. Here, I'll hold this up. Concave washer, and put the first rubber bushing on there. So the easy way to do this, if I can get it in, is there you go, to thread it down like that. Now the next thing I put on is another rubber bushing. Now these parts, see how one end has that little lip, end there, and the other end is just beveled like that? You want this end to go into the sway bar, because that actually kind of goes into it and meets the other bushing in there. So it prevents it from moving around, and then you could possibly have the bolt move around, and if you have this end, they don't meet, and there's a little gap there, and they could hit the sway bar and just make noise. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's just could make noise, and then you're going to be wondering what the hell that rattle is or whatever every time you go over a bump. So let's get this on there. Alright. Now the next thing to go on, if I can hold this up, actually I can let that down, is this hollow tube. Now what that's going to do is that's going to take up the space and space it correctly in between the bushings. Because if you didn't put that on and you go tighten this thing down, it's just going to keep pulling this bar down. Eventually you just won't be able to tighten it anymore, but that'll just put unnecessary pressure on this, and it won't be at the right angle and all that. So it just let me just brush some of this rust out of my way. It won't that's not the way to do it, so you need that spacer, so when you tighten it down, it'll only tighten down so far to the correct spot, and then from there it's all set. So let me get the next thing to go on is another bushing and a washer to go on the top of the control arm here. And same thing with this. You want that end, this end, going into the control arm now. You always want the washer end with this bevel. And the washer fits on there just like that, right on that bevel. Alright. Now let's... Oh, I went down in the hole there. There it is. Don't mind me, I'm just doing this by not looking at it. Go. I'm just going to find the spot where it goes in the control arm. There it is. There. Alright, so now we got that whole thing built to that point. Last thing is one more, dropped the nut. One more washer and bushing. And then the nut on the bottom of it. And we tighten everything down. Let's see if I can get this without Having to try and get both my arms in there. I might have to. Yep. Let me get both my arms in there. Now, gotta try and tighten it down. I don't know if I'm having too much faith in that I got that on. It was only sticking out a couple threads. So, it felt like it went on pretty well, but well, we'll see. Well, I'm not going to be able to get the impact in there, I don't think. Oh. Who am I to say I wouldn't be able to get it in there? Oh. Nope, can't. Okay. Let me get another socket. Alright, and I'm back. Got myself a ratchet here. Let's see if I can get that to wedge. Oh, yeah. Situated on the cart here. My shoulder was digging into it. Just takes a little bit of turning. I think we're almost there. Alright, I just saw this top bushing. Pardon me. Alright, I just saw the top bushing here on the lower side pulled in tight. So that's a good sign. That means it pulled everything down tight. So that's it. That's how you replace that. Like I said, fairly straightforward, easy to do. Didn't have to jack up the car or nothing. On a car you might have to, just to get underneath it to replace that, but yeah, like this, an SUV or a truck, you don't even have to jack it up. You can just lay down on the ground. I have a creeper, but lay on the ground and throw it in there. So there's two temperature sensors in this. They're both under the intake here. They're kind of hard to get to. And so what I'm going to try doing first before anything is I am going to actually I don't even have to take that out now that I'm looking at it. But I'm going to reach down there, see if I can move the connections around, see if I can get the connections off, see how clean they are, because maybe it's got a bad connection, dirty connection, something like that. Because I think the intake's going to have to come off to get these the right way. So let me take a look and see what I can find. Of course, the lock for the connector for the one is on the back side. You can't get to it. And the other one is directly under the intake manifold, the upper intake manifold. So I can't even get the connector off of that one, even if I wanted to, without taking the intake manifold off. It's a good car for somebody who either doesn't really have money and just needs something to get around town in, 4-wheel drive, good on gas. or a if a kid is getting their first car, it's a good first car, safe, so I think we're going to put that on the back burner for a little while until I get some time to take this intake manifold off, if it doesn't sell before then. So it's actually, those two things are pretty much it for any real problems with this car. It runs good, it drives good, the air works, it worked. We just don't drive it anymore. It literally hasn't gone anywhere probably in the last, it came back from my work. It did move all summer at my work, and then we drove it here maybe towards the end of August, beginning of September, and it's been sitting here since then. So it probably hasn't been on the road driven back and forth since probably, I'm going to guess, probably last April. So we're coming up on a year soon that this thing hasn't really been driven. So it's just time for this thing to go. So it's up for sale, and see if somebody buys it. So guys, thanks for watching. I don't think you're probably going to really see anything else with this car. This is probably the only thing you're going to see, and hopefully it'll be gone. So thanks for watching, and catch me on the next video. If you like this, leave a comment, tell me what you think, hit the thumbs up button, and subscribe. Thanks guys.